Thanks for clicking on State of the City. My name is Todd Prafke. I'm the City Administrator here in St. Peter, and today is October 4th, Friday, October 4th, a little bit chilly day. It's a little bit before noontime. We did not have a workshop on September 30th. That was the fifth Monday, and usually on the fifth Monday of a month, it happens about 4 times a year, we would have a goal-setting session, but this time, since the calendar is, it's different every once in a while, of course. Anyway, they decided not to have a goal-setting session on this September 30th, and they've moved it to November 18th, which I know is not a fifth Monday, but it'll work out really great anyway. So anyway, we did not have a workshop, so I'm not covering any things from the workshop, but I do want to do a shout-out to a couple folks. First of all, Nancy N., who I bumped into, who is an avid watcher, and Ann B. I bumped into Ann B. She lives kind of in the old neighborhood near the Gray Street area, and she is near the old hospital, and she is a regular watcher. And so when I bumped into her at the Boomer Expo, she talked about, asked me a few questions about some of the things on my last video blog. So Ann, thanks for clicking on this, however you watch it. Thanks for watching. So let me get to some tidbits. So we'll do that instead of just covering the workshop, since there wasn't one. I got this graphic. I was at Trinity Lutheran Church to do a couple of talks on food waste, composting, and recycling, and they had put together this really nice graphic. So I wanted to share it with you, and it talks about food waste composting and all the things that the city's program allows or doesn't allow. And I thought it was super handy, so thanks for them for putting this together in such a cool format. As you know, you can sign up for food waste composting in the city of St. Peter, and there's a study that was done in Hennepin County back in now my memory's fading. I can't remember if it was 2014 or 2016, where they did research on people's garbage containers. So some of you know Hennepin County is like the Minneapolis area, and I know that the folks in Minneapolis live very differently than we, but not so much in relation to their garbage. They still eat hot dish like we do. They still read the newspaper like we do, etc., etc. But anyway, the study found out and showed that about 15% of the garbage that were in their garbage containers was food waste that could be repurposed or composted. And so 15% of our garbage could go to a higher, better, more cost-efficient use. 15%, that's a big number. They also found out that another just about, a little bit over 15% was stuff that could still be recycled or had other purposes. And so more than 30% of their waste stream, which I don't think is that different than ours, could be put to a higher, better, more cost-efficient use. So anyway, check out our food waste composting program. I'm going to put a link underneath here if you're watching us on the internet, so that you can click on it and find out more about that program. I also want to talk about recycling. Here's a great one. I have a cup here that I got this morning, some Diet Pepsi in there. And although this might be hard to see, you can see on the bottom of it, just like every cup, let me spin it over here. On the bottom, there's a recycling symbol. It's right here at the bottom. That kind of triangle thing. I know it's hard to see. Trying to get it, it's hard to see. Well, and I even said it wrong. That is not a recycling symbol. The symbol that's on the bottom of the cup looks like this. And I know a lot of people see this and they say recycling. That doesn't mean recycling. It doesn't mean that it can go on our recycling. This cup happens to be a number 5 cup. And all plastics, or pretty much all plastics, have a symbol similar to this with a number. And so that number tells you the kind of plastic that it is. This says that it is recyclable as a plastic, but maybe it's not recyclable in the system that you participate in. As a matter of fact, in this instance, I know from looking up on our website that this instance it is, because we accept number 1 through number 7 plastics. So this cup is recyclable within our system. So when I'm done with it, I can make sure that it gets recycled in the city of St. Peter in my commingled recycling. Now, the reason that I mention this is because every time I'm on for the next while, I'm going to try and make sure that I give you a recycling tip. So anyway, the tip is you can look at the bottom of your plastics, check for that symbol and the number, and if it's number 1 through 7, which of course number 5 is, then it's recyclable within our system. So check that out. Make sure you get the right stuff in there. So if it says number 8, well, we can't take number 8 as an example. So anyway, let's keep our waste stream, our recycling stream getting cleaner and cleaner all the time and putting the right stuff in that we, within our system, can actually recycle. Okay, hot sheet. I got to mention the hot sheet. If you have not signed up for the hot sheet, please do. This is the weekly email newsletter that goes out. So I'm going to include a link, really an email address that you can just click on, and then you can email Barbara in my office, and she will put you on the list to receive the hot sheet every week. I also want to promote the hospital. Rivers Edge Hospital does great stuff. Boy, they sure do. What I'm really promoting this time is that they have a patient and community advisory committee. So if you are interested in that, call Stephanie or write her or email there, and they will be happy to talk to you about what it takes to be on that committee. Again, ask for Stephanie. I also want to give you an update on the fire hall. Some of you know we purchased some land, and we purchased some land in the area of at the corner of Broadway and Sunrise, so near the middle school baseball field, kind of near the Catholic Church Cemetery in that area, and what I would call the northwest quadrant of that. And so we continue to do work. I know I haven't talked about it for a while, but there's a committee that has a couple firefighters, a couple council members on it, myself, the architect, the construction manager, all that are continuing to work through stuff. Let me give you a quick sneak preview. Here is one of the major concepts related to how a fire hall might be laid out on that property. Now, don't get too tied to this because it could certainly change, but I wanted to give you a preview and kind of explain that work is ongoing. We have not forgot about it. There's always a lot of things going on, so watch for that. We'll try to keep you abreast of what's going on in relation to the new fire hall and how all things fit together there. The next one I have is we had a great meeting last night with residents of the North 3rd Street area. So this is the area north of St. Julian, kind of out there by Illumicraft and CarQuest Auto Parts in that area. So here's an image of some of that area. You can see I have marked on there Scrovey Automotive. And so we're talking with the neighbors out there about, and as you can see from the picture here, there really have never been developed streets in that area. And by developed, I mean curb and gutter and bituminous and stormwater removal and all those things. And so we're talking with those neighbors about that. So thanks to everyone that showed up. This is a really tough issue. It's a tough issue in this area, especially because some of the property isn't developed. Some of the houses are of a lower value than we might see the average within St. Peter. And so here's how this works. Since this is an area where the roads have never really been developed fully before, again, curb and gutter, bituminous, all that kind of stuff, stormwater, they would have to pay the majority of the freight. So the abutting property owners would have to pay the cost to make that improvement. And in some instances, that cost is really, really high. Anytime we do road and water and sewer and all that stuff, it's a very expensive project. Expensive enough so that it's getting a challenge to know that the property owners can pay for it, and not just can they pay for it, but under the rules about how assessments work. Assessment is the way we charge parcels of property. It's the way we tax people to pay for certain specific improvements like roads and curb and gutter and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's a challenging project because if we do the project and the value doesn't go up enough in that area to assess those property owners, the rest of the property owners in town have to pay taxes to pay for that roadway improvement. For an area that was never improved before, and like where I live or maybe where you live, you already have curb and gutters, so you paid for that when it was originally built, or it's embedded in the cost of the lot or the price that you paid for your home. In this area, they never paid for that, and so it's this balancing act about what legally can we do? How much does it cost? Do property owners want it? Don't they want it? They're complaining about hot potholes, and I get that. Anyway, I want to tell you that we think about these things a lot and that we try and work with property owners to make it go, and we're continuing to work to figure it out, but sometimes these are just really tough things to figure out, tough to find the balance, but we're working to do it in this area and in other areas as well. So anyway, I think that's a good one just for you to know. I want to also mention the Paws Walk. The Paws Walk is coming up Saturday, October 12th. at the Mill Pond. What a great event. It raises money for pounding animals and taking care of animals that are found. If you want more information, you can call the police department at 931-1550 and ask for Janet. I'm showing you here, Paws is through the St. Peter Police Department. They help organize it, and Janet is one of the chief organizers, our community service officer. So if you'd like to volunteer or contribute or fill out a form to get sponsors for your walk, it's a wonderful time. Oftentimes the dogs and the cats and all the animals come with costumes, so it's kind of a cool thing to see too if you're out and about at the Mill Pond this time. I want to get to the end, which is, here's how you can contact us. There's an email address up there, our Facebook address, our YouTube channel address, where you can watch council meetings and all kinds of stuff. Hey, oh, by the way, before I forget, thanks to Pastor Joy and Pastor Nick at Trinity for inviting me, having that committee invite me to come and talk about food waste composting. And last night was the candidates forum that's sponsored by the League of Women Voters and by the Chamber of Commerce. And so while I don't know exactly when that's going to show on SPPA, it will also be on our YouTube channel as well. So watch for that. We'll make sure that we put out information on our Facebook page about when that is going to show. But the candidates forum for mayor and city council members will be on there as well. So with that, I'm going to stop. Thanks for clicking on State of the City. Hope to see you again next time.